Senator Farrell. Now, as I pointed out, I have some questions, but I'm willing to exhaust the other senators' time. Okay. So, I just want to touch on, and I don't want to get too deeply involved in the question around drones, and I understand that the position of the ATSB in terms of where they'll fit in that scene, but do you anticipate that within, let's just say, 2 decades, that we'll be dealing with some sort of highway in the sky, or potentially with these unmanned vehicles, these unmanned drones?
So, Senator, certainly from the ATSB's perspective, we're moving from being entirely reactive to a predictive organisation. So we're delving a lot deeper into the data, into the research about what aircraft manufacturers are doing into the future. As you heard from Deputy Secretary Zilke earlier, the autonomous vehicle in terms of the roads has started to progress a lot quicker, I think, than a lot of people thought. So in this space, all I can say is that we're moving into that predictive space, and we're engaging a lot more data scientists, if you like, in the ATSB to be able to track and to monitor those future trends.
So would it be fair to characterise the not just where you might fit or other agencies and certainly the government, that it's likely to be very challenging space in terms of sharing the air, if you like, with manned controlled aircraft and these unmanned vehicles?
Senator, I think that the growth in Australian aviation and in the growth in Australian marine movements and passengers, as you see with the cruise ships, and the growth in rail are all challenges to the Australian government and certainly to agencies such as the ATSB.
Yeah, I suppose, Mr Hood, I was directing my question to being quite specific about, volumes in the other transport movements are clear, but it is a personal view that sharing space with thousands of these unmanned aircraft and dealing with the issue of aviation pathways, would you agree that it's going to be an extremely challenging space to deal with?
Absolutely, Senator. I absolutely agree. I think the advent of traffic and collision avoidance systems on aircraft for almost 30 years ago now was a major step forward in terms of preventing a collision. As we've discussed with drones, there isn't any of that technology on drones or a requirement for the drones to have them currently. And
whilst it might not yet be a major problem, is it fair to say that there's a possibility this has got out in front of us a little bit, in the sense that we understand there are thousands of these vehicles around the country now being operated recreationally, particularly, that there is something of a sense of urgency to try and get an over-the-horizon view about how we should react to all of this.
I think that is fair to say, Senator. As I said, that's why we've been working closely with our counterparts in the UK and the US, who are grappling with exactly the same issue.
Well, we'll be certainly looking forward to your input with us with the inquiry of this committee.
Thanks, Senator.
Senators, are there any other questions for the National Transport Safety Bureau? There being none, I would just formally ask the committee to agree for us to adopt and the opening statement by Mr Hood. Mr Hood, to you and through you to your team, thank you very much for your attendance today.
Thanks,
and the committee wishes you safe travel to wherever it is you're intending to head next.
Thank you.